Hello, everyone. So, I asked the question, what does it mean to lead second? So, I went to a training or a workshop on this past week, and I learned some more about what leading second means. And I thought, you know what? There were a lot of people that commented and didn't know what leading second meant and were interested. And so I typed up my notes. I made a presentation for you guys for of my notes that I took at this training, and I want to share it with you. So it's what I learned from leading second on the road. And Pastor Brandon Stewart was the pastor that spoke on leading second. He came from First Samuel chapter 14, verse 7, and he titled his presentation Heart and Soul. So, 1 Samuel 14:7 says, and I took it from the NIV, do all that you have in mind. His armor bearer said, go ahead, I am with you, heart and soul. And for those of you that are not sure who's talking here, well, this was Jonathan, King Saul's son, and David's best friend, Jonathan. And Jonathan was talking to his armor bearer, and he and Jonathan were just the two of them going to go fight a battle, and they saw the enemy, and it was just two, and it was like, oh, how are we going to survive this? And neither one of them were worried, concerned. They had faith and trust in God. And Jonathan warned his armor bearer that, hey, it's just the two of us, and our chances don't look too great, but with God on our side, we can do this. And so Jonathan was, or the armor bearer is like, hey, dude, I got you. I got your back. Go do all that you have in mind, everything you thinking about doing, go do it, because I'm with you, heart and soul. And so Pastor Brandon Stewart, he talked about being with our leaders, heart and soul. And so, first of all, I want to say thank you to Pastor Brandon Stewart from Leading Second on the Road for his wonderful presentation that he did. My pastor, Landon Kiker, I am a member of the Purpose Church in Schertz, Texas. He's the first one that introduced to me Leading Second. I took a training called Lead Track, and it was wonderful. I never heard of Leading Second, didn't really know what it was. And Pastor Landon Kiker introduced Leading Second to me. And I learned even more from Pastor Brandon Stewart at this conference that I went to. So I want to say thank you, Pastor Landon Kiker, for introducing Leading Second to me. And thank you, Pastor Brandon Stewart, for being obedient to God and teaching and training about Leading Second. So, just a little plug in there for Pastor Brandon Stewart. The website for Leading Second is leadingsecond.com. And I joined the tribe. So I encourage you to join the tribe. He says, join the tribe. And I joined because I want to learn even more about Leading Second. So let's go on. Let's move forward here. I just want to remind you all that these are my notes from that I took from the Leading Second on the Road event. So you are free to use them yourself or go to the website and get more information. But I just want to say these are my notes. These are not somebody else's. These are the notes that I took, what I got out of the training, out of this event. And this event was at North Rock Church in San Antonio, Texas on October the 10th, 2024. Um, and Leading Second on the Road events, they're new opportunities for lead pastors and their teams to gather for a dynamic roundtable style session, all designed around building a healthy second chair team in a local church. And trust me, the information for Leading Second, and once you understand what Leading Second is and you are on fire for being at your church, and you are devoted to your church and devoted to the vision that God has given your pastor and devoted to your pastor, you I can encourage you and I can say for myself, you will want to learn about leading second. So remember, these are my notes that I took from this event. So alignment and unity of the second and his leader. That's important when you're leading second. You have to be united to your pastor, whoever your leader is. You have to be united to them. And there has to be an alignment. It is impossible, it is impossible to have a healthy church without a healthy second lead. So our pastors are there and they're leading the church, but they need us to help them, support them in the vision that God has given them. And your church is not going to be healthy if you don't have a healthy lead. So I encourage you to make sure if you're leading with your pastor, learn about leading second, because it truly is impossible to have a healthy church without a healthy second lead. I know that from experience from a church that I attended. Um my our second lead pastor, he was awesome, but he was unhealthy, not because he did anything wrong. Our First of all, our lead was not healthy. And it really caused a lot of issues and a lot of problems in the church, and a lot of problems with our second leading. Our second did the best he could lead. I learned from him. I saw what he went through, and he still led strong. So I appreciate who my second lead pastor was in the church that I attended. So it is truly impossible. The church ended up closing. The church is no longer in existence. Well, that's because one, the lead wasn't healthy, our church wasn't healthy, and our second lead wasn't healthy. The goal is to have an empowerment team, not a control team. And in the church that I was before, it was controlled. Our lead was very controlled, and therefore our team, they weren't empowered, they weren't healthy. So it is very important, and the results of that, we no longer have that church anymore. So the goal is to have an empowerment team and not a control team. And unity is the key. If you do not have unity, you will not have a strong church. It's impossible to have a healthy church if there is no unity. Second chair leaders are an extension of their pastors. Our role is to link individuals to the church. We support the vision that God entrusted to our pastor without overshadowing it, while ensuring we are accountable for bringing that vision to life. We're the stewards, we're the glue. We are blessed to lead. We are more effective. We provide cadence for the team, and we can make the noise go away so that our lead pastor is free to lead. I am a leader serving a bigger picture than myself. I'm serving the body of Christ. We're building the temple, a family, a household, a holy nation, a priesthood. We're the bride of Christ, a flock of sheep, and a vine and branches. So we have a bigger picture when we're serving as second chair. The conviction of a great second chair leader is living under godly authority. That's my covering. There is an honor in my code, or honor, I'm sorry, is my code. Being a dream interpreter is my contribution. Being found faithful is my charge. The contrast to being an armor bearer is 3 John 9 and 10. I wrote to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to be first, will not welcome us. So when I come, I will call attention to what he is doing, spreading malicious nonsense about us. Not satisfied with that, he even refuses to welcome other believers. He also stops those who want to do so and puts them out of the church. So I do not want to be like Diotrephes. I want to make sure that as a second lead for my church, for my pastor, and second lead for my ministry leader, I want to make sure that I'm not there to tear him down or tear the church down, but I want to make sure I unite with them. From day one, point out expectations, visions for the role, give mandate success criteria. This is what the lead pastor, it's important for the lead pastor or the lead minister leader to, from day one, point out what you expect of your second lead. Tell them what their role is, a job description. I don't know many churches that have do job descriptions. I know my church does. My pastor has us with job descriptions, and that's probably because we're part of the ARC churches. But job descriptions are important, and give a mandate to them, and also tell them what their success criteria is, because they don't know when they've gotten there, when they've been successful in your eyes because you're their leader. So you need to make sure you have it spelled out to them to let them understand when what their success criteria is. And one of the things that I really appreciate that Pastor Brandon Stewart brought out was he said, be careful not to let your flaws become the feature because of foundational each issues. Now, the flaws that we have can be what people are focusing on because we haven't set a good foundation. And he brought out Matthew chapter 7, verse 24 through 27. And it says, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. The rain comes down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against their house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. That's a flaw. The foundation, Matthew 7:21-23 says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we prophesy in your name and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoer. So we got to have strong foundations in Christ. Foundations is important because we do not want our flaw to become the feature, what people are focusing on, because our foundation has issues. That was very that was a strong message for me, and I really appreciated hearing that because it lets me know that I need to make sure that my foundation is very strong so that if I do have any flaws, that's not going to be the feature of what I do because my foundation is strong. It's not about what you are carrying, it is how you carry it. I was like, okay, it's not about what you're carrying, but it's how you carry it. It's not about the church, it's how you are carrying the church. It's not about your leader. It's about how you are carrying your leader, how you are supporting your leader. So I like that one too. I wrote down a lot of he said a lot, and I have a lot of notes, but I wrote down the things that really hit that I really enjoyed the most.